So, hello, school community. So, I'm replying to one of the comments from you, Zuzana Rumelova, and here is what she has mentioned, and I think that it's going to be really useful for most of you, right here. So, here is what she was saying. I have so many questions about debugging, but I believe you will cover all these in upcoming videos. For example, when I'm debugging and I have no idea where the problem occurs, how can I know which lines of the code I can just skip, go deeper inside, and where I should dive deeper? I'm looking forward for the next videos. Okay, so I think that's a really important one that I see many times for SAP consultants, that they do what they do. They go and press, let's say, /h or start a debugging right from the beginning, and that they just press F5, F5, F5 until they spend hour, 2 hours, and finding out nothing. So in this example, what I'm going to show you is like what I usually do to figure out where the problem can be roughly, and from that point start digging deeper. So let's start like this. So right now, this is a program that is supposed to do a sorting. Okay, so if I press F8, this program is supposed to take this original sorted string, starting with 525, 99, 58, blah, blah, and all these numbers, and it should sort all the numbers from the lowest number to the biggest number. However, what is occurring in this program is that the sorting starts with 525 and then continues with 2 and ending with 525. Okay, so it should start with 1, but for whatever reason this program is adding 525 in the beginning. So if you take a closer look on this program, it's a simple program from one student, starting with scratch, starting with algorithmization. But here is the sorting string from the beginning, like kind of like input string. And that's how it's supposed to look like. Okay, so right now I have, this code contains how many? Almost 500 lines of code. And now the question can be, okay, like where the problem is occurring. So you as a consultant, you don't really understand that much of the coding, but if you just take a closer look of how it looks like, there are just a bunch of if statements, then write original sorted string, that's what we have seen on the in the output, then are doing some cycle, while cycle, and other if statements, and then after the ending of another cycle, here are a bunch of other if statements. Okay, so now even though you may not understand what this ABAP program is doing, here is what I would do in order to find out where the problem is located. Okay, so let's start like this. I would create a breakpoint right in the beginning of the program, so somewhere here. Okay, and try and go inside. Okay, so I'm going to press F8 and wait until the debugger window is opened. And now here is what usually happens. Like consultants, as I mentioned before, consultants press F5, 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 and try to see, okay, like what's happening, reading through the code, and try to understand like what this developer is doing. My recommendation would be the following. Since we know that there is a problem occurring somewhere in the end of the program, if we display on the screen gv output sorted, okay, that should be the string that is supposed to be sorted. Instead of pressing F5, what I usually do, I try to take a look on the parts of the code and try to see where the problem starts to occur, okay, or where the problem or where the program is starting to behave in the way that I wouldn't expect. So now instead of pressing F5, I would try to take a look on the content itself and try to press F8 instead. Okay. So in the beginning, let me just take a look on all the numbers that are inside of the variables. So 8, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, it's empty. So here are all the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so here are all the numbers starting with 5 to 5, ending with 10. And now, what I would do, I would try to take a look somewhere, let's say in the middle of the program, whether the problem is whether I see that something strange is happening. So let's say right here after the write statement. Okay, so I would create a breakpoint, maybe creating GV output original display so that I can see whether like how it looks like. And now I would press F8. Okay, so I see here is the output starting with 5 to 5, 1 is there as well. And if I scroll up here, so far everything looks okay. Okay, so it's just the starting procedure. Now I see that here is some while statement, so let's try to create a breakpoint after the while statement. Okay, creating breakpoint F8. So I'm processing some part of the code, and I would like to check whether the content or whether the logic is working well. So I can see that this person is changing the this original number into BUB number. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm also going to create a set of variables right here so I can see it on a bigger screen. So now let's do this. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 3 once again, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I see that these numbers in these variables are sorted. So starting with 1, 2, 3, and so on, and ending with 5 to 5. Okay, so it seems that this logic works well. And now, if I continue and move forward, here are some bunch of if statements. So if I would create a breakpoint right here, press F8. I see that all these numbers are still okay, but this variable that is going to be in the output, let's take a look at this. Okay, once again, double click. Well, okay, here it is. So I see that 5 to 5 is in the beginning. So I already see that something has already happened probably here. But also what I'm finding out that this variable contains the output that I don't like. Okay, so maybe right now I should focus more in the next run more on this variable specifically, because I see that all these numbers are sorted well. So probably after the sorting, this should be the sorting mechanism in this while and while. Right here, most probably is something going to occur when this developer is creating GV output sorted. Okay, so if I press F8 right now to go out from the program, so I see if I scroll down in the program that this variable GV output sorted contains the output that I don't like. What I can do right now, double click on this variable. I go to the definition of this variable. If I double click on this variable again, I see that everywhere is this variable used. So I see that this variable is used for preparing the output starting from line 397. Okay, so on this line, this is the first time this variable is used. So I can see that somewhere starting from here, the problem is going to occur. And what I expect to have instead of 5 to 5 in the beginning, I expect to have there 1. Okay, so let's do the debugging again. So I press F8 to go to the debug mode. Move the debugger window right here. And now I can remove this breakpoint because I see that the problem starts to occur after a certain part of the code. So I press F8. And starting from here, I can take a look into GV output sorted. So since I know that somewhere here the problem starts, instead of pressing F8 right now, I can either start, I have two options right now. I can either start using F5 and start taking a look like step by step of what this program is doing, or what I can do, I can choose starting from here from my 396 where my output variable is empty, and maybe I see that, okay, like this logic ends like somewhere around 489. Okay, so this logic ends here. So somewhere in the middle, if maybe I would try to be like 150 if the problem occurs. Okay, so let's create a breakpoint right here, F8. Okay. Okay, so right now I see that this sorted output is already, it already contains the 525 that I don't like. So what I can do is the following. I can either F8 the program and finish the program and start the program again, or what I can do, I can do the right click on the line of the code where I would like to get back. So I would go to statement, and suddenly this yellow arrow has come back. So right now I'm going to start a program from this position, and let me remove everything from inside of GV output sorted. Okay, so now I see that somewhere here, somewhere between line 396 and 451, the problem has occurred. Okay, so now I'm pretty close. Somewhere here the problem is occurring. So now I can start and doing F5. Okay, and I can see that inside of this statement has already put 525 inside of the sorted variable. So so actually what is occurring is that this person is putting information from this variable GV output original string into sorted variable. However, I can see right here that he's using original number. Okay, so he's putting the original number instead of BUB number where all these numbers are sorted. So if I would take a look into BUB, there is number 1. So I see that instead of this statement, GV output sorted equals GV output original number 1, should be used BUB number 1. And then in the rest of the code, he is putting everything like with BUB, like BUB putting into original for whatever reason. But actually, that's the problem. That's the problem where this problem occurs. And the way how I was able to get there faster is by not going F5 right from the beginning, but using or creating breakpoints and using F8 to jump through certain parts of the code so that I can see whether I see the problem starting to occur or if the code is still okay. Because otherwise you would be going and pressing F5 through all these lines of the code, even though, or in the end, you would realize that the problem didn't occur. Okay, so that's why I rather create a breakpoint, run through the code, and see whether the problem has occurred or not. If not, okay, let's choose another part of the code where I create a breakpoint for after that part of the code, and then again I start and check whether the problem has occurred or not yet. Okay, and then once I see that after a certain part of the code the problem starts to occur, then I get back and start to investigate further. Okay, so that's the iterative process which you can use in order to get to your problem much faster, which was the question from Susanna. Like, how can I know which lines of the code I can just skip, or not go deeper inside, and where I should dive deeper. So that would be my answer. But also to let you know, like, in order to do digging deeper, you would need to know more about ABAP. But this part, like creating breakpoints and not digging deeper, can help you to locate where the problem can be and then let your developer know, okay, like somewhere here the problem occurs. And at least this way you can help your developer to know where to dig deeper, and your developer will be able to analyze the code for you much faster. But you can help him to navigate him in the right direction. Or from my side, feel free to ask any questions or let me know whether there is something that was not clear to you. I will be here to help you out. Bye for now.